then, soon, Percy came and accidentally coupled to the big train. He waited for a bit, like his driver said so, and went off. Whoa. This feels like I'm as slow as a tortoise, he said. Then he kept going, and a troublesome truck laughed at him. You can't do this, you are silly. You can't do this, you are silly. Meanwhile, Molly was off to see if her beautiful big cargo train was all safe. But when she looked, it was not there. Then she saw a red coat followed by an oil truck and a milk one, and watched it slowly move. She wanted to try and she was going to investigate. Meanwhile, Percy was also still pulling the coaches, and then stopped. Then he looked back and saw Molly racing to him and said, "Oh, she must be excited of me." But then she looked and saw an engine with her trucks. She went up into the air and then back down the other way and waved the other way to see who was pulling the coaches. It was Percy. Percy, you have to stop. Why have you got my coaches? Oh, sorry. I didn't know I had your coaches. Molly then said, "That's all right. I'm going to get my blade saw. I'm going to shout the blade saw and see if he can uncouple them for you." "Blade saw!" she shouted. There came blade saw. He jumped in the air on his side, and with his thing uncoupled them. Then he jumped again because Percy was stuck to Molly's magnet. This time he was going to land on his saw bit, and he did, breaking up the two endings. And then she went off to find a new bigger ending. Then Hero was speeding along the track looking for something to help with when he was face to face with Molly. Molly said, "Oh, do you want to help me?" Okay, he said. "What do I have to do?" "Well, with the help, take my big long train and see if you can stop the truck from being naughty to you." "Okay, bye." But what Molly didn't know was that he wasn't a magnet train, and the trucks weren't magnetive. So then when he tried to move, and then he looked back, and he was pulling nothing. Then he went back to see Molly. "But I'm not magnetic," he said. "Don't worry, you can help." "But how?" "Well, I knew you could do big leaps, so maybe you could try and do the big Hawaii. I mean, the big jump onto the ground and help Jack and the others." "Okay," he said, and jumped up. Then he rolled. Then he jumped right down to help the crew. He saw Jack, and he told him to put some bars on a colourful big spur. And he did put the cool mad times, the cool things on there. They both got on. Then Percy was speeding along. Then Molly was going the other way and saw Littleton laying on his big claw. And then Hero was there, and he managed to pull him back onto the whales. And also Bibo had to go on the track and move some coaches, but he couldn't. So when he saw Diesel and his coat, he hopped right onto the coat and asked if he could come with him to pull the coaches. Slowly, Diesel started moving right to the back of the coaches, and there he stopped.
2 minutes.
Then off went him, and then all of them got pushed off the whales, and that is the end of part 2. The end.